Boy.
I want him.
Fundora.
I want him.
Fundora.
He's 6'6".
Oh, yeah. I'll beat them both. It's as simple as I'll beat them both.
The Fundora sweepstakes just got a jolt of adrenaline. Boots Ennis didn't tiptoe around the idea of moving up to face the towering champion. He leaned into it with total conviction, signaling he's ready to embrace the size gap rather than shy away from it.
I want him.
Fundora.
He's 6'6".
I don't care.
Sebastian, you go get inside.
Bring him on. You gonna see. Fight night. You gonna see. I'm really different, and I really can show different like attributes, and like I said, these guys don't do what I do, and y'all see as I keep going up and keep fighting these different guys and fighting better competition, I'm gonna keep getting better and better. You feel me?
What happens to a boxer when you are caught, though?
While Fundora isn't interested in dancing around the subject, he spoke on Jaron Ennis and made his confidence unmistakable, insisting he'd come out on top against either Jaron or Ortiz. More than just trash talk, his framing was almost a plea to the sport. These are the collisions fans deserve, and see no reason for promoters to keep the top names apart.
Than each other.
Oh yeah. I'll beat them both. It's as simple as I'll beat them both. I think those are great fights. Great fights. Again, being of the zone, all of us now. I think that's fights that have to happen now. You're seeing him fight one time and me fight one time, and then the other one fight the other time. It's like, now we gotta put these guys together, man. They need to bump heads, but it's gonna be exciting. I'm very looking forward to that stuff.
Definitely agree with you on that, and I think everybody does in boxing.
Pushed back on chasing a payday against a recognizable veteran like Spence or Charlo, Fundora redirected the conversation. Money isn't what's driving him at this stage of his career. Building a lasting name is. In his eyes, proving himself against the sport's new wave, guys like Ennis and Ortiz, carries far more long-term value than trading punches with fighters whose best years are behind them.
Absolutely. And I think, you could throw the Charlo, you could throw the Spences at us, but the weight they have compared to the fights like Boots or Virgil, it's not the same. So, it's the obvious choice. Which path are you going to take? You're going to take that path, and you might make some money that way, or you want to make the money, and you also want to make kind of a more of a household name for yourself. But we're doing good. There's no reason for me to go and look for those stuff. Honestly, real stuff.
There's also a psychological layer to how Fundora approaches these fights. Rather than resent being cast as the underdog, he leans into it, using the doubt as fuel. He wants the tough matchups precisely because they let him silence critics and settle, once and for all, who really belongs at the top of the sport right now.
We don't want that feeling to happen with the full sport of boxing when it comes to Sebastian Fundora. So yeah, put him with the best.
To keep that edge, you want to fight the other.
You got, like with the last fight, it was good with Thurman because there still was doubt. They still doubted me, which made me feel like I'm still the underdog, which is fine. With these guys, with the Virgil and the Boots, you guys still call me an underdog, and that's fine. That's fine, because it still feeds me to want to win, to beat these guys, and have you guys questioning, what the hell just happened? What the hell? But that's fine. That's fine. You put me with a Spence, you put me with a Charlo. Those are good fights.
Garcia doesn't sugarcoat just how awkward a matchup Fundora presents. His unconventional frame and off-rhythm approach make it nearly impossible for an opponent to look sharp or comfortable in the ring against him. That's part of why Garcia currently leans toward picking Fundora, if this fight comes together.
Strong, got stunned but came back and still a couple rounds later finished the fight, so that shows a lot about a fighter, his heart, his power, his will to be great and to win, that says it all. His performance was great. He did what he had to do, even though he took some punches and he got hurt a little, he still finished the fight the way a real warrior does, so gotta respect him and gotta give him credit. Against Fundora, man, I think it's tough, man. Fundora has a style it's not going to make you look good.
Since claiming the title, he's an even tougher puzzle to solve now than before. According to Garcia, there's really only one blueprint that works against Fundora: relentless forward pressure paired with sustained body work to break him down physically. But he's skeptical that Boots is built for that kind of fight. As gifted as Ennis is with his speed, Garcia focuses on whether he has the mentality of a bruiser willing to walk Fundora down.
I think the only thing that could stop Fundora is a pressure fighter that's not going to give up and he's going to keep coming, working the body, and just kind of bullying Fundora into a fight, pressuring him into a tough fight. I think that's the style that might hurt Fundora. But Boots is, Boots could also, also fight smart. He's a good, he's got good footwork too. He's got good speed. So I don't think Boots is the type of brawler that's going to push Fundora back. So I think that right there, I favor Fundora on that one. I think so. I think it's probably a mistake for them to take that fight.
Garcia goes further, suggesting Ennis may be eyeing the wrong opponent. A showdown between Jaron Ennis and his own fighter, Virgil Ortiz, would deliver far more compelling matched clash. He also raises a red flag on the Fundora path for Boots, since Boots recently showed harm. Stepping in with a naturally bigger like Fundora only raises the stakes of that risk.
Probably say, not just because Virgil's my fighter, but I think Boots versus Virgil is probably a bigger fight and a bigger. It could turn out to be a much better fight. I think both are warriors. Boots just showed it, and I think style-wise, it's a beautiful fight.
You're picking Fundora. Is that based off of, Boots getting hurt, or is that just because Fundora's kind of been on a roll recently?
But both. I think after we all seen that Boots does get hurt, and he got hurt.
When the conversation turns to him, Algieri frames Fundora as one of the toughest riddles in the division, largely because of his sheer size and freakish reach. What stands out to him most, though, is the growth in approach. Fundora has shown far more patience, leaning on his length to control range, instead of chasing risky exchanges he doesn't need to take.
But Fundora is such a difficult puzzle. He's so long, and he's getting better. He's improving. He's improving. He's learning how to use his size. He's using his jab. He's being more disciplined. He's not taking risks like he used to. Talk about a guy who used to allow people to hit him and then has figured out that you shouldn't do that at the highest level in that Brian Mendoza fight. But since then, he's been very, very good. So, yeah, I can understand why people would see him as the final guy because, again, with those physical advantages and the way that he's getting better, very, very difficult to deal with.
Algieri points to just how mismatched the styles are at the top of the division. He paints Ennis as a slippery operator who thrives on countering, while Fundora is something else entirely. He's an oversized and hard-to-read threat, whose tools make him almost impossible to game plan for cleanly. That clash of approaches, he suggests, is exactly why nothing at 154 feels settled.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Because it's one of those fights, it's one of those divisions where, again, if they all fight each other, I don't think anybody stays undefeated. So even trying to rank people, just because they're all so different. You got Boots, who's a fluid, side-switching, counter-punching, killer puncher. You got Virgil, who's a two-fisted destroyer, comes to get you. Fundora is the towering inferno. He's 6'9" or however tall he is. You got Josh Kelly, who's a slippery guy. So you've got a lot of different styles. You got to see how they match up.
Turning to where Boots stands in the pecking order, Algieri won't hand him the top spot at 154, just on potential alone. He wants it earned against the best. For him, rankings mean nothing until they're won in the ring.
Yeah, it's a lot of very good champions at 154. We got to see how they all match up because boxing math doesn't work. We gotta have him fight.
Looking back at his previous fight, Algieri flags a moment of real concern. Ennis had stretches where his guard slipped, and his defensive discipline wasn't where it needed to be. His warning is blunt. Absorbing that same clean shot from someone with Fundora's pop could produce a very different outcome.
And that fire.
I had a lot of people ask me, like, well, how do you see, Ennis with those guys? I'm like, listen, if he gets hit the way he did in round 3 as he did with Xander, those guys are completely different punchers. So that could be a different kind of result. But you also got to think a guy who's as good as he is and as dynamic as he is, will he fight the same way if he has more danger coming his way? Which we saw that at 147. 147, he might get hit. The guys couldn't hurt him. So now he's at 54. Guys are punching much differently. And then he's even talked about going up to 68 eventually. That's where he sees himself ultimately capping out. So the defense has got to step up. Best fighters in the world don't get hit cleanly and more than once at a time.
Building on that concern, Algieri stresses that fighters operating at the elite level simply can't afford to keep eating shots in bunches. Heading into a fight of this magnitude, he believes Boots needs to make defensive tightening a central focus of preparation, treating the jump in danger that comes with facing a bigger and harder-hitting opponent as non-negotiable.
So if he's going to make those adjustments with those guys, I think that's something they're gonna attack during camp. Being able to do it on Fight Night Under the Lights is another thing, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's going to be exciting.
Which one of those 3 guys, like you said, Josh Kelly, Fundora, obviously the guys with the belts, Virgil almost maybe doesn't need the belt and is still kind of one of the more popular names up there. Just which one of those, like, does he beat all those guys? Does he, like, I don't know, which one would you rather see, I guess, like if you would rank those 3, which order would you like Boots to take them?
Listen, I am.
But Boots supporters are not sold on the doubts. though Jaleel Hackett makes clear he sees a genuinely special talent in Ennis, a fighter whose range of skills and adaptability set him apart from most in the division. The edge he keeps coming back to is athleticism. In his assessment, Boots simply moves and creates in ways that Fundora's size and length can't fully neutralize.
I think he is the guy to beat those guys. You know, he's a very talented fighter, very versatile fighter, and he's an athlete. You know, people take that out of the equation. You know, a lot of guys we see when they climb the ranks, you check their background and they've always been boxers. So it's like the creative aspect isn't as wide compared to a guy who's a pure athlete who, you know, played multiple sports growing up, still, you know, funds around hobbies with multiple sports. You know, those guys that are like pure athletes, they tend to be better overall fighters.
Both Ortiz and Fundora bring real problems to solve, he admits, but that doesn't shake his belief in how the fight plays out. In his eyes, Boots has the tools to work through those challenges and get his hand raised regardless of who's across the ring.
Those will be challenges, but I think those are challenges where he will come out victorious.
Kicking off the discussion, Sean Zittel points to how much Fundora's latest showing has reshaped the conversation around him. What was once viewed as a solid title reign is now being talked about differently. Analysts are increasingly framing him as a legitimate coin flip threat against top-tier names like Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, rather than just a durable title holder holding serve.
I walked out of the arena hearing narratives about Fundora that I had never heard before, like maybe he really is the best 154-pounder. Maybe he really does beat Virgil Ortiz and even Jaron Ennis. And I think heading into this fight, he was a respected champion, a formidable champion. But I think most people, the reason why they were saying Ennis and Ortiz is the best fight in the 154-pound division is despite neither of them having a major world title, that people thought they were the two most elite fighters in the division. And I had Fundora pegged third behind them.
From there, the breakdown gets more technical. He raises a point whether Fundora can keep leaning on his height and output as his main defensive tools once he's across the ring from someone as offensively sharp as Boots. They suggest a fighter of that caliber would force him to tighten up and take defensive responsibility far more seriously than he's had to so far.
When you talk about Fundora having to be defensively sound, and I agree with you, by the way, Tim Tszyu had already been knocked out by Bakram Murtazaliev. Keith Thurman's a faded version, an inactive version, fighting in a weight class where he's not optimized these days. You got to see Fundora in against a prime, elite level opponent who's going to punch back at him with the same kind of volume he does to really see what it really is. But that being said, when you talk about him being defensively not forcing him to really test being defensively sound.
Including, Radio Raheem turns to Fundora needs before that kind of fight makes sense. They argue he'd benefit from facing more seasoned and high-level opposition first, which acts as proving ground to expose and correct whatever cracks exist in his defense before stepping in with someone possessing boot speed where those same flaws could get punished.
Fundora to get more looks. I think what Thurman provided for Fundora, while I'm not sure what we can take away from this win as to where he was when he came into the ring, will definitely improve him when he comes into the ring again, because Fundora got a look at Thurman's game plan that could have been more successful with a more agile, younger, effective fighter, and he's gonna need to see those crafty vets put a game plan against him that actually can execute it so you can stay safe while you're winning.
Weighing in with his own prediction, Gilly the King doesn't hedge on how he sees this one ending. He's calling for Boots to get Fundora out of there before the final bell, even while admitting the challenge in front of him is nowhere near a walk in the park. Respect for the danger and confidence in the outcome aren't mutually exclusive in his view. He just believes Boots ultimately breaks him down. Bringing on Boots' toolkit, Gilly the King points out just how many ways Ennis can win a fight without ever taking a real risk. If he wanted to, he could simply out-technique an opponent from bell to bell, resetting angles and staying a step ahead the entire night without ever standing in the pocket long enough to trade.
I think Sebastian Fundora probably will be Boots' toughest fight.
I ain't never hear you hesitate that much about a Boots fight.
No, I'm
No, I know. Go ahead.
I think Sebastian Fundora probably will be the toughest fight just because the intangibles.
Right.
But Boots will get him out of here. When it's all said and done, he'll get him out of there.
Stop him.
Stop him. He would get him out of it. Boots would be forced to stop him because he gonna throw his hands so much that either you gonna stop him or you gonna get hit with a hurricane of punches.
Picking up the conversation, Greg Hackett gives Fundora credit as a legitimately dangerous and high-level operator, but takes issue with how he carries himself talking. At times, though, he's never truly been tested or made to feel real danger in the ring. That disconnect, Hackett suggests, sets up a rude awakening if he ever shares the ring with Boots.
What's so crazy about Boots is that Boots could just box the shit out you and move the whole fight if he wanted to, and you would not hit the motherfucker one time. Like, he could just do that. He could just say, this fight, I'm just gonna use distance, and I'm gonna f you up, and I'm gonna put your head in a beehive, and I'm gonna sting you all night, and you not gonna hit me. But he chooses to say, no, I'm gonna box you.
I'm gonna mix it up.
Then I'm gonna bang. Then I'm gonna box you some more.
Pressing further, Hackett makes his stance clear. If this fight happens, he expects Boots to be more than Fundora can handle. He points back to Fundora's previous fight as proof, refusing to write it off as a fluke or a single unlucky shot. In his eyes, it's evidence of a real and exploitable vulnerability.
Listen, man, if it's Fundora, then it's Fundora. He'll find out. I think Fundora is a good fighter, but I think he's full of shit as well. He talk like nobody never went upside his head, like he never been put down, like he never been put out. You know what I'm saying? He is who he is, and he is dangerous, and that is the best fight at 54, but he'll find out. He'll find out.
Shifting the focus to Fundora's growth, Breadman Edwards argues he's become far more than just a tall frame to work around. His jab has sharpened into a real distance management tool, and there's an underrated physical component to a kind of deceptive strength in his limbs that catches opponents off guard. For someone like Boots, Breadman explains, the real problem isn't skill so much as geometry. A 6'6" frame throws off the usual playbook for cutting off distance and getting inside.
Everybody at 54 is dead meat. Dead meat, bro. I'm telling you, even Fundora got a f***ed up memory where he act like he don't remember what Mendoza did to him. You know what's wrong with people? What Mendoza did to him, they try to act like that was an accident or some type of lucky punch. There is no lucky punch. You got caught with that shot. You got put out. It's going to get bad, bro. Bad for him, bro. Bad. Everybody at 54 bad. I'm telling you.
Continuing his breakdown, Breadman Edwards paints a vivid picture of how this fight could unfold, comparing the energy to one of the most explosive wars in boxing history, the kind of unrelenting exchange fans still talk about decades later. Given the size gap, he expects Boots will have no choice but to work his way inside and target the body, rather than fight at range.
I think they're both great matchups. I think that they both present problems for Boots, but different types of problems. I think Fundora has not gotten so much better in terms of his reflexes and seeing punches and things like that, but he's gotten better with his distance. He's really learned how to put a jab on you and keep you at a kind of distance where he can hit you and you can't hit him. He seems to have like that ligament strength where he doesn't look strong, but he is strong. And he's not a lights out puncher, but he's like a volume puncher, and if he keeps hitting you with them hard bones.
Building on that, Breadman stresses that the height gap rules out a strategy built purely around upstairs jabbing. Instead, Boots will need to mix his levels, rather than hunting it directly. He adds that Fundora has shown he's more than comfortable exchanging up close, meaning Boots has to walk in ready for a long, grinding battle, rather than a quick night's work.
I think that Boots and Fundora is an absolute Hagler-Hearns type of shootout. I think Boots is mean as a rattlesnake, and he's gonna have to step to Fundora. I don't know if his jab, especially to the head, will be that effective against a guy that's 6'6". So you have to jab him to his body a lot and kind of step to him. And I think he's with that. That's the kind of fighter he is. I think that that will be an early round shootout. I think that will be the kind of fight that will end within 4 rounds. But it'll be a great fight.
Adding fuel to the fire, Mike Coppinger is reporting that discussions are actively moving forward behind the scenes for a Boots Ennis versus Sebastian Fundora showdown, turning what's largely been speculation and callouts into something that may actually be taking shape.
Josh Kelly comes out of that. He's with Eddie Hearn. Boots is with Eddie Hearn, that's a possibility. Josh Kelly has a title, and Boots is a legacy fighter. He wants to be undisputed. But I'm told, more importantly, that right now there are talks going on between Eddie Hearn and Louis the Cubist regarding a Boots Ennis Fundora fight for November or December of this year. There are talks going on already.
Whether this fight comes together next or further down the line, Boots Ennis and Sebastian Fundora represent the kind of collision 154 has been waiting for. Two dominant forces, and a division that won't have real answers until they meet in the ring. Until then, the debate continues. If breakdowns like this keep you locked in, make sure you're subscribed and comment your thoughts on this highly anticipated matchup.